three stages to this game. You play, you compete, and lethal.
Steps into it. Pass is caught. Diggs! Sideline! Touchdown! Unbelievable! Deshaun Jackson gets a block. Are you kidding?
All day. Looking deep for Hollywood Brown again. He's got it. Brown off to the races. And he stays on his feet. Touchdown!
For overtime. Packers clock is blocked. It's picked up by the Titans. This game is over. Second down in the air and picked off by Brad. Will he get it here? Yes!
Welcome to the first episode, the inaugural episode of the three-man draft. This has taken us quite a long time to figure out. We're going to make this as professional as we can. However, it probably, Reese is shaking his head, but it's probably not going to happen. But however, I will introduce you to the three men of the three-man draft. My name is Chris, also known as Jonesy. To my left, I have my mate George, also known as Hampo. Do you want to say hello?
Hello, everyone. How are we all?
I like the intro. If someone in American heard that, they're going to
Very
love
polite.
that.
Yeah, well, yeah.
They're going to think,
I know, it's all
wow.
the Americans. The Americans.
It's a bit like when we're streaming our football, we have to watch Americans play, talk.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Exactly. And I've almost got used to it now. I've almost picked up the lingo.
Well, we've been listening to ourselves for the last 2 hours because we're having microphone issues. But anyway, my instructions are going all over the place. You've distracted me. In front of me, Reese boy. He's got himself together after many hours of just laughing. And to be fair, we've been laughing at the fact that my technical ability is not as good as I wish it could be, even though I sound the part, but definitely don't.
Yeah, editor Chris hasn't gone very well, but he's doing more than what me and Hampo can do. So we are here, we're live, we're recording.
We've got there,
pod on
haven't
the
we?
go. We're a podcast for the people.
Yeah, I think so.
We're here to make sure that everyone enjoys it, and if you're new to us, then we're going to be hoping you can come along for the ride, learn the game that all three of us love, and if we can help you and get you into it and convert it, because not all of us started out loving it instantly, then we can work from there.
Yeah, sounds good.
Two sources reporting that the Ravens are open extensions with Lamar Jackson to extend the contract.
That's good news. I had big concerns about this though, because the problem we've got is he's going to cost us a very lot of money to keep onwards. Now, what this actually goes on to a subject that might get this man going. But certain two quarterbacks have recently changed teams.
Would one of these happen to be Jared Goff?
It does, yeah. But don't worry. This is almost like a pre-entry for you guys to see Hampo's reaction to Jared Goff. But we'll go to that later.
Good.
What I'm getting at with this is they were both signed to nice chunky contracts, and now they've already been shipped out of town, and both teams have cap issues. So do teams carry on with getting 3 years or into their rookie and then sign them to a massive contract, or do they be more cautious and do a lighter contract? Patrick Mahomes, on the other hand, has made a ton of money on his contract. So I might like, yeah, I don't know what your thoughts, because we've had to cut a load of players to get Lamar probably to stay, but he's going to stay anyway, isn't he?
I mean, ultimately, I think realistically, out there, probably apart from Pat Mahomes, who is better, and who would you? As a Ravens fan, let me ask you: would you rather anyone else rather than Lamar Jackson? Really, what he's brought your franchise
in the league?
Yeah, what he's brought your franchise, what he's done for the game as such. As in, he's kind of he's brought a new meaning to the quarterback position, isn't he? He's more. It's kind of like playground football for him now. As in, he toys with defenders. Obviously, got an incredible arm, but then he thinks some of the highlights that you watch of him, and he's putting defenders on the floor for so easily. It's almost embarrassing.
I think the thing you've got as well is that you've almost built a team around him, his style, the way he's played in the last two years or so. You guys have built around it. He's brought success, two playoff runs, and one that ended not so well, one that ended a little bit better. But you've had two playoff runs that were good and they were built around what he brings.
Everyone was saying he couldn't win a playoff game, but admittedly, the first season he came in like 5 games into the end because Joe Flacco's injured, and the second time we just got beaten by
the best team,
big Desert Henry,
the best team in the NFL.
In answer to your question, no, I wouldn't have anyone else. You're right. I mean, when I look back to the days we had Joe Flacco before, don't get me wrong, he's a Super Bowl MVP, and someone did ask me once, is Joe Flacco elite? and how do you define an elite quarterback when yes he's won a Super Bowl, but he was just like there was just nothing about him.
I don't think that defines a quarterback. I know it does in a way because of the way the game is played, and it defines people such as when you say someone like Tom Brady is a GOAT. But you look at quarterbacks that haven't won a ring, they haven't got a Super Bowl to their name.
Tony Romo.
Well, yeah, but to be fair, Tony Romo.
Just get him out, yeah.
Tony Romo is probably one of the ones you could say is
the all-time greatest CBS presenter ever.
He is, but he's also probably the one
He'll be known for being a better presenter than he was a quarterback.
Well, yeah, he
was a very good quarterback.
He's got to be in one of the top 5 quarterbacks that hasn't actually won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, right. Yeah, definitely.
And I mean, to be fair, to come on from then Lamar with cap space, all 3 of us in a position where our teams have positive cap space. Obviously, we are in a horrific position.
Unlike
the
Eagles and
we're scraping
and the Rams as well. They've got big cap issues now. I think the Eagles have 22 million dead cap or something like that.
No, to go for cap, I've got the figures here for you.
Cool, perfect.
So the Eagles are a second bottom.
Reese is our future newsman.
already
He's the
know
guy.
who the
He's the
stat
guy.
guy
He's the
is.
guy I'm going to go to.
Stat
I'm going to be
guy.
sat here and I'm talking about like Reese, what we got, and he's going to go boom. I've
So
got some
the
news.
Eagles are negative $43 million
Wow.
in terms of available cap room. For us 3 as a team, I mean, we're scraping by. We're just in the black with 1.8 million. And then you 2 are on top of each other. So Ravens in 13th, 18 million, and the Cowboys 19.3 available cap room. So I mean, it's good the fact that we're not being stuck by cap room. However, yes, we're not in the position of the Eagles or the Saints. 69 million on a negative for the Saints.
Yeah, they've got big issues.
Yeah, Kamara might be.
I was about to say Kamara.
Kamara might be
Kamara.
With
Thing is, with
Breeze
Breeze, I don't even know what's
Kamara.
Breeze's contract. Can someone find out what Breeze's contract is?
I can have a look quickly.
Is he doing another year?
Do you know what? If it does, it's going to be. It's going to have big
Because
issues.
everyone was saying he was going to go, but I read somewhere, and I read somewhere he's staying.
So apparently his base salary drops this year, but he's still up there. So they're trying to free up more cap space. So his current contract is a 2-year, $50 million contract, including $25 million guaranteed over the 2 years. So yeah, that's a big chunk for them straight out of the way. And I mean, that probably also leads to reasons why certain quarterbacks might be requesting
you
trades
can't.
as well.
I was about to say just get rid of Drew Brees and then just run with Jameis Winston. But I mean, but the problem is you can't do it with someone or Taysom Hill.
I think would rather play any position bar quarterback. I think he's signed as a quarterback, but I think when Drew Brees was injured and they didn't play and they played him ahead of Jameis Winston, I just think he just didn't in the pocket as a QB. He just didn't want to do anything. I think I was watching him. I was sort of like, you're a signed quarterback, and I just don't understand how you just would rather run the ball. I don't know. Obviously, that's a good part of the game nowadays, but every ball he was trying to throw was just there was no power behind it. And I just think, and then the record for Jameis Winston at the Bucks speaks for itself. I think was it 30 interceptions in one season?
Yeah, the last season he was like something crazy.
Going out of a bang, and there's that.
They flipped turn their luck, didn't they? With,
Well,
I mean, you look at cap space again as a big player. You've got 2 unsettled quarterbacks, I'd say. Texans having Deshaun Watson,
that's the big thing
Seahawks
we
with
could
Russell
talk
Wilson.
about. I mean, I think the whole. If we're moving on to that,
I mean, but just to say, both teams on here, they're both positive in terms of cap space. So it's not that they have to get rid of them for cap space. However, do you want someone upsetting the rocking the boat if they're not happy to be there?
well, they let JJ Watt go.
True. I mean, he's obviously coming to Tennessee.
Yeah, carry on. Who's this geezer? Yeah, I know. I just think that's. I think it's just hard. What do you do? I mean, for me, I think Deshaun Watson is the difference between Russell Wilson right now and Joshua Watson. Deshaun Watson is obviously doesn't want to be there. It's obvious. It's clear as day. I mean, maybe clear as day for journalists and what we're hearing.
I mean, I get the feeling that with Russell Wilson, it's actually more contract playable.
Oh, 100%.
100%. He's pushing for more money. He knows there's space that he can get it.
I believe
and an O-line that actually protects him and doesn't
that's the
get
problem.
himself
Yeah,
killed
this is
every
the
day.
thing.
But yeah,
It's not the difference between you've got the Texans where there's a big upset, which isn't just someone trying to vie for what they can get. It's actually they feel abused by the franchise. They feel used and they feel like they don't or aren't being treated necessarily how they should be.
I think with the Texans, they know what they got. They know they've got someone very good in Deshaun Watson, and they can't let him go. But I mean, surely they understand at the moment it's a complete shit show, is what it is.
I mean, they're comparable with the Jags for us in the AFC South, aren't they? I mean, if you look at the way I know they finished third in the end, but they were for the first half of the season they were rock bottom in the AFC South.
Yeah, I mean, everyone blamed. I feel bad for who was the name of their coach and general manager from before. He was young, and then everyone's going,
He took on both roles, didn't he?
He took on both roles and got rid of DeAndre Hopkins.
I mean, that was stupid.
And it was just like, it was all his fault. But now I'm thinking, was it him at all? Was it people above him that were causing this chaos?
Well, I was reading something the other day about the whole situation in regard to Deshaun Watson. I think it obviously stems from a lot of different things. I think for him personally, it's obviously he's a good professional, he's a good pro, so he would never not play well, or he would never not give his all. But I just think you could tell watching the last few games of the season. I think I think for me the deciding factor for Deshaun Watson was when they traded DeAndre Hopkins for a second rounder. I think that was possibly for me the worst move a franchise could make. They were, for me personally, and obviously this is going to hurt Reese's hearing this, but for me, they were always the best in their division. Obviously, the last few years, the Tennessee Titans have come.
You know what? I think back to when Reese and his Titans were playing the Texans, and he was actually worried about it.
Exactly.
It was like,
and now
oh my god,
this season it
was just tough gig.
This season in the group chat, he was just so calm about it, and rightly so. Like I say, I just think that for him personally, he took it personally because I think he had a really good friendship as well as a bond as a teammate with DeAndre Hopkins, and then to replace him with, don't get me wrong, he played for us last season, but Randall Cobb, who I actually like as a wide receiver, but I mean, there's no one, not even a comparison compared to how good DeAndre Hopkins is in comparison to him. No. But I think that, and I think the whole social injustice thing in regards to the Black Lives Matter thing, I think as a franchise they weren't taking it too seriously.
Yeah.
And for me, this is what I was reading. He was really upset about that in regard. He's very active in it, and I don't think as a franchise they were. And I think that was another reason, possibly in his mind, another nail in the coffin in regards to his Texans career.
I mean, the worst thing as well is that if he does go, one, who's going to want to go there? And they would have been the third round draft pick this year, and it's with the Dolphins because they've traded it.
It's almost a laughing stock, isn't it? Really,
it's the fact that you've got that position where, yes, you've had a horrendous season, and now your quarterback, who, without a shadow of a doubt, was your best player, is the jowl for that team, wants to leave, and you have got nothing to follow up with because what quarterback is going to want to go there?
And let's not forget, JJ Watt's leaving as well. So if they lose him and Deshaun Watson, they're not going to want to lose both because, Deshaun Watson's their pride possession, but let's be honest, JJ Watt is personally a close second.
He brought a whole thing to that team.
JJ Watt he just defined the Texans. If you knew the Texans, it was JJ Watt, and everyone in Houston absolutely loved the guy. Even though I didn't actually realise this until recently, but when you got drafted by the Texans, they booed him.
Oh yeah,
they booed him, which is mental. But he was a god, and I think you're right. They can't lose both. I just think it's going to get so nasty. I think it's just going to get so. Yeah, it's going to get so dirty.
It'll be a case of Deshaun won't turn up.
Have you seen the stuff that they're saying? Deshaun's coming out he's putting quotes about loyalty and all this stuff. It's just not good, is it?
I think it's a press's dream. It is to kind of mix words, but I do think there is. Bad blood.
George, one of the worst bit of what I've just said as well.
Go on.
They haven't even got a second round draft pick.
Oh no.
They all went to Miami in 2019.
You're joking.
No. The Houston Texans draft picks are round 3, 2 in round 4, a 5, 3 in round 6, and a 7. So they go through the first 2 rounds. Their first pick is pick 67.
Christ.
The first 2 rounds of the draft, they've got nothing. So that they can't even put in someone because we know that Trevor Lawrence is going to go first. It's going to happen. However, they've got quite a few they could have picked from at third.
Yeah.
If the inevitable happens.
Yeah.
that's now completely out the window.
We'll
for
definitely have another conversation think about the draft at some point. Whether that be probably might not be today, but in the next
100%.
next so we'll talking a bit more depth about the draft. But yeah, the Texans have completely screwed themselves there. Moving on from the Texans though, if we move over to a little bit further north, a bit colder in windy, rainy Seattle. Russell Wilson. Like you said earlier, I think that is more of a case of it's a contract thing, and he probably wants a few more assurances, and he'll stay. However, I saw, say on the news. I mean, if you class Twitter as the news, things like
it is nowadays.
It is nowadays, isn't it? About him, like he's going to go to the Bears and all that, and then he's going to go to Dallas, and it's like. Really though, I don't think he's that kind of guy. I don't even think the Seahawks organisation are that bad. I think it's just a case of organising something. And I mean their offensive line is just awful. Like you watch a Seattle game and he's just getting sacked.
I think that's their biggest
He has
worry.
no time, and he has such an arm, but he has no time. He can't do anything.
Yeah.
I just also wonder where's he going to go. I know there's a lot of places that want to take him. I think as we spoke before, any kind of recording took place, he's quality. He's up there, but he's also he's aged. Mm-hmm. It's not like he's a Deshaun Watson or a Lamar Jackson where they've got the quality, but they've got time on their side as well. I'm not saying he's not going to go for a few more years, but you take the risk with reward of injury and time for that as well with him. And there's going to be franchises that think about that as well, I think.
I think for me, the thing with Russell Wilson is the fact that, like you say, I agree that he's getting on. Like I say, getting on. We look at Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger. They're all old. Let's be honest.
Touching 40s, yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Or past it.
And let's be honest, the greatest of all time to ever do it, Tom Brady,
He's still doing
rocks
it.
up to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Probably, I personally thought just for a last payday before he retires.
100%.
Obviously, it got a bit sour at at his old franchise at the Patriots, and I just think he went there for a payday for last hurrah almost. I thought, and then he's done a Peyton Manning really with Denver, isn't he?
I was just about to say he's done a Peyton Manning. He's gone somewhere I think that's offered him a bit of money and almost. I mean, I think if I was Tom or Peyton, I think south of Florida is much nicer than Colorado. Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm with you on that. That was my exact thoughts. I remember looking at the bookies, and it was all like, and they were putting stuff up like, yeah, Tampa Bay to the Super Bowl. And I'm sat there thinking, just because they got Tom Brady does not mean they're going to win a Super Bowl. Oh, eat my words, eh?
Well, the thing for me as well, like I watched his last season at the Patriots, like many did. As much as they finished 12-4, I believe. I don't know. There was something about it when I was watching him. Maybe it wasn't just him. Maybe it was the team. I just didn't think he. I know he's getting older. But I just didn't think he was a Tom Brady of old. I thought he was throwing far too many picks. He just didn't look very assured like he normally did. And I honestly thought, like you say, Jonesy, when he went to the Bucks, I honestly thought it was almost. I almost laughed. I'm not going to lie. Like they've gone from Jameis Winston, who, okay, is probably
to a man with 6 rings.
Yeah, well, yeah, but they probably couldn't believe their luck. But then they say in the press and obviously in his interviews, he's like, "Oh, I knew that. I thought we had a chance of winning the Super Bowl here and getting a good run going." I think everyone says that. I don't think anyone believed it. I don't think if you went and interviewed 100 Bucks fans, regardless if they got Tom Brady, they would have actually said, "Yeah, we'll win the Super Bowl." With the Chiefs' offense and things like that, I think they're as shocked as everyone, really.
Yeah, I think at the start of the season, it was almost the retirement home syndrome, where you thought he was going there to, as you said, enjoy the sun, nicer weather. He's more local to there, and it was an opportunity for him to go and finish it there. Saying that, yeah, he's done bits and. Oh, Jesus Christ!
Don't worry, Reece, we'll edit that out.
We'll cut that out.
I mean, you got to say fair play to the bloke. Like I was watching him, and he had a new lease of life. Like going there, I was a bit nervous. They played. I think it was the Saints. They played first game. I think it was televised, and I think they got battered. I think, but even then, I was like, he looks alright. I feel like in himself, he was a bit like, it's a new franchise. He's got nothing to prove. Let's be honest, because even if he didn't win the Super Bowl this year, he was gonna go down as the greatest of all time. I don't think anyone's ever gonna catch him in regards to rings and just overall, just suave. Really, he's just a classy player and bloke. But
he's just for his age, it's unbelievable what he's done down there. And I think we could sit here and talk about Tom Brady for quite a while. And to be honest with you, we can probably sit here and talk about quarterbacks for ages, because this season, the quarterback situation, but I don't think I've ever seen anything like it in all the years that I've been watching it. I don't think I've ever seen a quarterback situation like this. And we could talk about Ben. What I will do before we probably move on to something else, because we will spend the whole time talking about quarterbacks, I do want to mention the Detroit Lions and the LA Rams and good old Matty Stafford and Jared Goff. I have a man to the left of me who really, for some reason, hates Jared Goff. I mean, I don't know why. I don't know what you'd have against this guy, but I mean, he does seem quite boring, doesn't he? But I'm going to let you go on.
George Hampson, take the stand with your Hampo rant.
This is your moment. Take your moment on Jared Goff, and then we'll talk about it.
With Jared Goff, I think you just watch him, and like you said, I think you've just summed it up. He is the most boring player you have ever seen. He takes zero risks. He's not got a good arm. Let's be completely honest. He's got, I'd say possibly, if not definitely, the best defensive player in regards to Aaron Donald. I think he's an absolute disgrace. He's a monster of a man. Isn't he? And the amount of times that guy gives Jared Goff in the pocket, and then he just either throws a pick, he throws it out of bounds, and that's not necessarily all on him. Don't get me wrong, but I just think, he's just, there's no. If I was a wide receiver or a tight end or anyone receiving the ball in that then LA Rams team, I just personally, for me, just wouldn't have any confidence that he was ever going to reach me, throw me, even if I made the best route ever. I don't know. And then every time you'd see him in an LA Rams sort of game, he'd come off the sidelines and he'd be so just a prima donna. Like, he thinks, honestly, I don't know. It's just, I've got a personal thing against him. How he's won a Super Bowl is beyond me, and I honestly really, really feel sorry for the Detroit Lions now.
Well, I mean, you don't like the guy. It's probably it's pretty good news to you that he's now been sentenced to Detroit. He's gone from the lovely Los Angeles, sunning it up. Well, when I watched the Hard Knocks?
Yeah,
it was Hard Knocks. When he was in his house, like putting golf off the edge of his, like, basically his cliff into his garden. It was like, and I was like, and I did think to myself, I was like, wow, he's got it good there. But once he leaves LA, funnily enough, he's now going to Detroit.
And how I believe, quote me if I'm wrong, Reece, didn't he have a max contract there at LA?
Yeah,
like, they max contracted him. That's possibly the worst move in a franchise history, I personally think.
Yeah.
Because if you look, maybe it's just me being blinded by my hatred for him. But I've had a quick glance, and I don't believe his stats are actually any good. Personally, like, and again, it goes back to the whole, it may be the wide receivers, it may be, but then you can't blame his defence. Again, you just can't. I personally don't think you can. He's just, I think fame got to his head, I think money got to his head. And yeah, it's funny, isn't it? I think, weren't him and Matthew Stafford in the same draft class?
They were.
I think they went 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
1 and 2. And now
2016 draft.
I think it was. And then now look at them. They're both being drafted to each other's teams because they're just. I've got nothing against Matthew Stafford, but again, I think he's something and nothing at Detroit. And yeah, I just think that must have been a terrible draft class.
I have a differing opinion of Matthew Stafford. I think he just hasn't had a decent franchise around him, or a decent team around him, shall I say. I think things might happen in LA. I really do, because he is a good quarterback, and he's just, I don't know, he's just there, isn't he? He's just always there, and you might think of him the same as Jared Goff, but I think Detroit have got the better end of the deal out of this. LA, sorry, not Detroit. LA got the better end of the deal. Getting Matthew Stafford. It's going to be weird seeing Matthew Stafford in LA though, but
just gonna
unused man's over there.
Correct you with something.
Oh.
In terms of draft picks, so Jared Goff did go 1 in 2016.
But wasn't Carson Wentz 2?
Carson Wentz was 2. Yeah.
Carson Wentz. Oh, sorry, right, getting confused.
Don't get me started. I know this is again another thing for the Cowboys.
Matt Stafford.
A Cowboys fan, and they're in our same
I was
division.
I didn't think also Matt Stafford was longer. God,
Matt
you sound so professional right now.
But
I don't know anything we're talking about.
I mean, to say something, to come back to something you said, which I will take full abuse to, of the 2016 draft year. All right, the disgrace of the second round pick that the mighty Titans got of Derrick Henry.
This guy is so hooked up on Derrick Henry.
Mate, Do you know what? I just.
Well, we might have to have a whole dedicated pod to Derrick Henry, and he's just going to come in
He's
and
just a
we'll just let Reece go on it.
He's
If you find a bigger fan of Derrick Henry than my mate Reece.
It's not me. It's my mum. She loves him.
True.
She loves him.
Your mum loves
My
Derrick
mum
Henry.
loves Derrick Henry.
Good God.
Right. But
She loves
no,
Harry Potter and Derrick Henry.
Yeah, that's the two loves in life, Harry Potter and Derrick Henry. But yeah, no, I mean that whole thing, and you know, that there was a big draft year, but yeah, to Jared Goff and Carson Wentz, who, as you say, a draft year for QBs, questionable. But yeah, no, I think that's a good place to finish on quarterbacks. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think we've really.
Yeah, I feel like I've got it off my chest.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll come back. It'll definitely come back.
But when you mentioned Mr. Aaron Donald.
Do you think we haven't actually gone too much into Carson Wentz? That's what I mean. The quarterback. We could just sit here and talk about every call. Like Carson Wentz to Colts.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's like
they've downgraded.
It's terrible for me.
Philip Rivers to Carson Wentz.
Philip Rivers might just give one of his kids to the Colts and go, there you go.
This is true, but yeah.
Carson Wentz could just have like all of Philip Rivers' kids as his offensive line.
For me, Carson Wentz is another version of Jared Goff. In regards, this is not me being hatred as a divisional rival, as in the Cowboys and the Eagles, but I just think if you were to look at
Where did the Eagles finish this year?
what makes me laugh with the Eagles, right? He's so injury prone. They max contracted him. The season they won the Super Bowl, he was injured. They played Nick Foles. Nick Foles, again, I think since winning that Super Bowl has been extremely, unfairly treated, to be honest, in my opinion. And then they've gone from him. He won the Super Bowl, probably I'd say against all odds, really, because everyone has just expected the Patriots to win. But then he comes back next season, comes back fit, and then they just drop Nick Foles for Carson Wentz. I just think they had such a high opinion of Carson Wentz for a guy who really.
You have to though.
Hasn't proved himself.
But then I suppose if you've max contracted him, you
got a guy that was drafted top of a draft. You can't suddenly be like, yeah, sorry mate, you're off. The backup here just won the.
But do you agree that if he was fit, they wouldn't have won the Super Bowl that year?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And that's just for me that speaks volumes.
It does.
And again, don't get me wrong. As a divisional rival, I'm a bit worried because I'm a big fan of Jalen Hurts. I think with time,
yeah,
as a first rookie, he come in and I thought he did bits, to be honest. And I think with time and the more he gets experience in the league, he will be a good player, a solid player for years. But I'm glad to see the back of Carson Wentz. Not in the sense of he was always good against us, Dallas. But just the fact that I just didn't like watching him. Again, I like watching good quarterbacks. And as much as it pains me to say, I will enjoy watching Jalen Hurts because I like him as a quarterback.
Going to the Colts on this, I think the Colts are just hopping from any QB that's available, that's half decent, until they can draft that franchise quarterback.
100%.
He is not. They're not signing Carson Wentz to be a franchise quarterback. They didn't do that with Philip Rivers.
2 years maximum.
Oh yeah, 100%. 2 years.
I don't see anything else past it.
It'll be. He'll be gone when they get a higher draft pick, however they do that, whether they trade for that, because if they want to be competitive, they're a good team, and I think there's something to watch out for. You won't want me to say that because they're in the same division as the Titans, who I also think are a very good team. But your division is stuff apart from obviously the catastrophe that is Houston. But
I mean Jags as well.
Yeah, well,
Jags do the Jags.
You know who they're getting this year. He's gonna do bits. He's gonna do exactly what fucking old Joey Burrow did and broke his leg.
Chris Jones laying it down for you there, baby.
Laying it down.
To move on from quarterbacks because we've spent too long on that. But to go back to sunny LA, in particular SoFi Stadium, Aaron Donald. Mate, he's a beast. I'm going to put it out there. Best defensive player there's been.
100%.
That's been
ever. I mean, he's tied for most defensive player of the year awards with JJ Watt.
Is that not an argument there? JJ Watt in his time, okay, maybe he's getting on a little bit, but in his heyday,
he is. But I just think Aaron Donald's. I really like JJ Watt, but I think Aaron Donald he's a different beast. He's huge, but he's so quick.
Yeah, I think that's the frightening. Yeah. He's almost like a hybrid. How quick he is, like you say, for the size that he is.
Yeah, and he's not just big. He's strong and he's powerful. And if he's coming at you, you
almost see quarterbacks just crumble.
Yeah.
Before he's even got there.
He is an absolute beast of a man.
And I mean, 100%.
He won Defensive Player of the Year this year, didn't he?
Yeah, he won it this year. He didn't win it last year. He won it 2 years prior. He's. I think he. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd
Part of me
probably agree.
thinks like, don't get me wrong, his stats obviously talk, and that's how he's getting these awards. But you've got guys like Chase Young, who's another who I personally think. I know. Do you get defensive rookie?
You do.
I can't.
I don't remember. So long ago already.
I know.
NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year this year was. It was Chase Young.
It was Chase Young. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, Nick Bosa got it last year, and I think he had a solid year as well.
He did. Yeah.
I'm going to make an argument. Wasn't TJ Watt really unlucky not to win Defensive Player of the Year this year?
Nah.
In regards to the season they had? What did they go? 11-0? 12-0? Okay, they had a little bit
And
of
it
a...
flopped.
Yeah, okay, they flopped towards the end. But his numbers...
To be fair, yeah.
So I'd probably say even halfway
the
through the season...
Steelers' defense is
was
just
a joke.
mental. Yeah, well, it's just
I think that
unbelievable.
and actually won them a lot of games. I remember the game where themselves and us as the Titans were both 5-0, and it was both teams' 6th game, and it came to literally 12 seconds left on the clock, and we lost the game with 12 seconds left because of how strong their defense pushed. So yeah, I think you've got a point, but I also just think Aaron Donald's a different breed. I don't think anyone compares to him.
I just think personally, if we're going on a season, overall I'd pick Aaron Donald all day long. Don't get me wrong, over TJ Watt, but I think personally, this season, if we're going on season by season Defensive Player of the Year, I truly believe TJ Watt probably was hard done by not to win, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, there were.
But like I say, for me personally, I agree with you, Reece. There's no better player defensively in the league than.
I'm not going to mention Offensive Player of the Year because it went to the rightful person.
Yeah, we'll move on.
Right.
To be fair, I was going to leave on one mark. The 8th player ever to have run for 2,000 yards in a season and have back-to-back rushing titles.
Credit where credit's due. Derrick Henry is an absolute beast. Like, watching him play is scary.
I feel like we need to have a Derrick Henry conversation. Just a dedicated Derrick Henry for about 15 minutes.
It's not even dedicated. My thing. I think I spoke to Chris about it the other day. I don't think he should have won an MVP. I think he deserved at least one vote.
Aaron Rodgers get one vote?
No. Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes' stats and Josh Allen's stats were all good. There weren't any kind of season making. There weren't any historical making there.
But for me, I always feel like Offensive Player of the Year 9 times out of 10 goes to a quarterback. Personally, I don't agree with it necessarily.
MVP does.
MVP.
Yeah, MVP does. And that's me. I'm not saying he should have won it by any means because we flopped at the first hurdle in the playoffs to the Ravens, which we.
But then if we're going again, it's not. It's not a team award, is it? It's a personal award.
Yeah, and I mean he broke a record that 2,000 yards in the season. And
back to back.
So he'd done 1,600 yards last season, 2,000 this season, but back-to-back rushing titles. Didn't play for about cumulatively 2 games this year through what he missed in kind of quarters because we were that far ahead. Had he done that, he'd been breaking the all-time record of 2,160 something.
When I would watch Derrick Henry, I remember when he played against us, we shut him down in the last playoff, but
the game this season, the regular season game.
The game this season, we completely shut him off, and you can see how frustrated he was. He was there, just on the sideline, just losing his marbles about the fact that we were just.
So I say regular season game this season, it was a case where he won us the game in terms of overtime.
Even if we rerun into the playoff from the year before, he was the reason that we lost that game. He just completely tore us apart. And they'd writ that next playoff game to be Lamar Jackson versus Derrick Henry, not Ryan Tannehill versus. Lamar Jackson. It was Lamar Jackson versus Derrick Henry.
And it wasn't even Titans versus Ravens. It was another one of those ones where you had this season. You had Breeze versus Brady. You had Mahomes versus Brady, and for us it was Henry versus.
I just thought
everyone.
That game was so anti-climax. I come to the game and I remember watching it. I remember we were together the last time they played last year in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I just remember we all. I think even you to a certain extent.
I was shocked. I was shocked.
Even the Titans fan. Kind of expected just the season that Ravens had last year.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson.
They were frightening. Lamar Jackson was a joke, and I didn't think they were ever going to sort of whitewash them as such. But I was surprised how bad they were in that game.
You know what? It was 2 surprise matches back to back because I think last year, so the 2019 ones, as a Titans fan, I was there thinking we've not got a chance here. We scraped it past the Patriots, beat Brady. We're against Jackson and the Ravens now. It's not going to happen.
I mean, as a Ravens fan, in that game, that playoff game of last year, I was just, I was in pieces. But before, I was so confident. Like I remember being with you, and I'd put a bet on.
Hockey.
I put a bet on for like £10 at the beginning of the season. We're like 33-1, and the cash out was like already £250. It was almost like saying, yeah, you're going to win.
And I remember saying to you, cash it out.
I remember you saying to cash it out.
Take
and
the
I was
win.
like,
I'll do it
whatever.
after this game when we win.
We're playing the Titans. Like that's not going to happen. And then that happened, and I was just a bit like, oh.
I mean, for clarification purposes for you, like the three of us were flying to Prague, the early hours of the morning of that game. So it was 2:00 kickoff.
So to be exact, actually, we had drunk too much and we hadn't actually watched the game. We then woke up at 2:00 in the morning when my alarm went off to watch it. My reaction was, fuck this. I went back to sleep because I was so tired.
George woke me up, I think, at the beginning of the third quarter and went, Reece, look at this. Showed me his phone, and I was like, and he showed me the previous result to whatever game was on before, and then went, oh no, scroll to it. And I was like, Jesus Christ, we won't tell Chris. He woke up and it was.
I think it was Chris waking up to the sort of almost the expectation of seeing his Ravens flocking once more. But I don't know.
I think it was deadly quiet, and I just went, oh, it's not gone well.
And I mean, to be fair, but it was complete.
Between us and me, that's gone on. Sort of another. It's gone on a year, isn't it?
It was complete role reversal this year because and not so much in terms of expectations, but we were the better team in what the season had been going into it. But I told Chris, I don't feel confident, and it was a case that we didn't show up.
Yeah.
I mean, MVP though, Aaron Rodgers deserved. Big question mark.
Oh, that's such a tough
Big question mark. Would you give it to Tom Brady?
It's give or take.
Not necessarily. It's not Tom. I wouldn't say Tom Brady is my immediate go-to, but I think, don't get me wrong, Aaron Rodgers played unbelievable, and all the things he always does. He is this. He's just like, he's in that Tom Brady. For me, he's in that Tom Brady category. He hasn't won a Super Bowl, but he's there. He's
got one Super Bowl. Has he got one Super Bowl?
I feel like he might have.
Yeah, he's got one.
He's got one, has he?
Yeah.
Oh, well, my knowledge is clearly.
I think.
Clearly not.
We'll get the stat guy on this.
Yeah, get Reece our stat guy. I'm just here to bring us in and take us out. And I just
2010 they beat the Steelers and Super Bowl MVP. But yeah, he's got the one.
He's got the one. So yeah, I mean, I think. Tell you what, should we take a quick break, and then we continue on with that. Actually, you know what we do have to talk about is our Instagram.
Ask me anything. Ask us anything.
I think that's going to take us a little bit of time. So should we?
So we'll take a break. I'm going to go for a week, so I need one.
Yeah, I need a wee too.
I need another beer.
That sounds like a plan.
And a wee?
No.
Oh,
no, funny enough, no.
Okay.
I broke the seal early, but I'm fine.
We'll be back stronger.
Welcome back. We are refreshed.
I've got margarita.
For you guys listening, that would have literally just been like bye-bye and then hello again. But yes, we are now got our drinks. You've got your margarita, Reece. I got my beer. What you got?
George got margarita.
I've also got margarita.
God,
never actually
boys.
tried one before until tonight, believe it or not. And I'm actually
We're drinking.
quite a fan.
I'm drinking. If you're British, you'll understand. Kirkland's signature from Costco. Margarita. Pre-mixed, ready to drink. We really recommend it. Shout out to Costco. If you can give us a sponsor, that'd be fantastic.
if you like limey margaritas, you're in. It's got a lot of lime kick, but there's a lot of tequila in there as well, I think.
We're also I'm drinking Budvar Budweiser, or Budweiser Budvar.
We've ordered a few of them. We've got 2 or 3 each.
2 or 3. Shout out to Prague.
Also got a jammy wagon wheel. Just because I'm a little bit hungry.
It's fine, we've got a bag of goodies over there. Alison has helped us out.
Shout out Alison.
Shout out to Alison. Right, before we start talking about alcohol.
Alison is my mum.
She's just not a woman.
Just for context.
She's just not this lady that is just around. And
just bringing us random food.
Yeah, if I need something, I just phone up Alison. Right, so we're going to go into the next segment. We've just spent the last 35 minutes talking about quarterbacks and other little bits and bobs. We don't want to bore you all to death, so I want to hand you over to Reece, who is our social media man. He's put out on social media, ask us anything. We literally have got anything. So yeah, what we got, we're going to answer these questions.
I mean,
as serious as we can.
The first one is quite entertaining. It's why obviously it's been put all in one, but we need to break it up. So why do we support the teams we do? So for you, Chris, why do you support the Ravens?
We have a long story really, but I'll try and shorten it. So I've been watching the NFL for probably 2009 was when I sort of probably got into it. It was half through secondary school for me. And I didn't really understand it at that point. I was just watching it. I enjoyed it. Didn't really follow any team. But I thought back to when, when to a history lesson in 2004. I went on holiday with my family. We had a family friends who lived in Philadelphia, and I happened to be watching a game with them. And it was, of course, the Eagles. They're massive Eagles fans, and there was other teams on there. Like it was jumping from game to game. I think it might be. I don't know if it was Red Zone or what. I don't think Red Zone existed back then. It was whatever it had. But I remember seeing, literally, this team come up. This purple team with a really cool logo, and I literally went, "Oh, that's really cool."
As simple as that.
And simple as that. And I was there just banging on about. But the thing is, what it really came from was I was a kid. I knew nothing about. I didn't know what American football was. I just a bunch of guys in pads running around. Like I was like, it just looks like rugby, but with pads on. I knew nothing. And I just thought, and I was being really annoying. I was just running around the house, and like they were like, "Oh, what about Eagles?" Like, yeah, it's about these Ravens. I was and they were like, "No."
Supporting the opposite team.
Yeah, I was being like little devil's advocate. I didn't really realise as a kid, and I was just being annoying. And they're like, "Yeah, it's all about Eagles." Because they had Eagles stuff everywhere, and what Eagles fans are like, "Yeah,
I don't blame
go
you for not
Eagles."
spotting them, to be honest.
And I was like, "Yeah, but I like the Ravens because they're purple." And anyway, when it came to 2009, when I was starting to probably get into it, I just started watching their games, and the biggest thing that swung me, Ray Lewis. The legend. When I watched him and his intro and him talking, and I was like, this man, and he also plays for this team that as a kid I thought looked badass, and that was it. I was just bang, and I just sort of followed him, and I think I just, it's nothing. I think to American fans they probably find it a bit strange because we, a bit like when I was out there, I was speaking to guys who supported our football, and they would just have like the most random stories, like, "Oh, why do you support Chelsea?" "Oh, well, I was their manager on FIFA." It's as simple as that. And it was like, what? Part of me wanted to be like, "Oh, that's just fucking stupid," but
I've done.
You know what? I don't care. Like if you pick a team, and if you know about it, I respect someone that knows about it. So, but yeah, going back to me, that's that's pretty much where I am. And I just followed them, and I managed to watch a Super Bowl win in 2012, which was great fun. And then after that, rest is history. So,
I mean, same as you, George. Why do you support the Cowboys?
To be fair, mine's quite a different. I suppose, in a sense, fairly similar to Jonesy's. In the sense of when I was younger, I didn't like NFL. I'll be completely honest with you guys. I wasn't a fan. I remember my old man. Shout out Gary, by the way.
big Gaza.
He was. He's always like NFL. He's always been a Dallas Cowboys fan since he was young. To be fair, and I remember it come to Sundays, and obviously that's NFL Sundays. It's the sacred day, as we call it here. But I remember just him watching it on TV and me being so bored with it. I would want to know and want to learn about it so badly, and I would give it my all to watch it. But then I would just get bored. I'd be on my phone. I just want to go and play PlayStation with my friends, do anything but watch it. And I think one day I sat there and I was like, "Who were you watching? Who do you support?" And I took an interest and spoke to my dad about it. And he was like, "I support the Dallas Cowboys for this reason, this reason, this reason." He started leading off that. It's like Jonesy said, he knew his stuff, and he does know his stuff. And I think it was almost that, like him knowing and can tell me like facts of the past, the history, different things like this. And I think I just started watching a game, and I remember watching Tony Romo, Des Bryant, players like that, just legends of the Cowboys. And I just thought I got hooked. I got hooked on watching them. I enjoyed it, and then before I knew it, I was just, again, like I said, I was just hooked. I was watching it every week.
I'll forgive me if I'm wrong, but if Gaza can prove me wrong here, but I'm assuming for his era, the Cowboys were it. They were like the Patriots.
Exactly.
They were America's. They still are America's team, but they were America's team, and they were probably one of the biggest ones. That's probably the reason. And they were just so. They just screamed America, didn't it, in the NFL, and it was just that was it.
Well, yeah, they're the star, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're the star, and it's obviously the star on the flag. But yeah, and I think I've just got hooked ever since then. I look forward to Sunday. Like, don't get me wrong, last couple of years have been a little bit hard, especially last year. I won't put any excuses in the way. We weren't good enough, but we had a lot of injuries. Dak Prescott, he'll be back and ready when we finally sign him, hopefully. But yeah, we've got a couple of weapons coming back. But yeah, that's the story of me supporting the Dallas Cowboys.
So I suppose we better ask you then, Reese.
Me, the Titans.
Big Tennessee Titans. Wonderful city, by the way. Shout out to Nashville.
Up with Nashville.
Nashville.
I mean, that's where it comes from, to be fair. So 2013 and 2014, me and the family did a couple of drives around America. Quite a few places in a 2-week period, but the one that I suppose you fall in love with, as I think you did when you went to America, was Nashville. It's somewhere that is special, and of course that's where Nissan Stadium is. Stupidly, that was 2013, and I started watching the 2014 season, my first one. Shout out to a 2-14 season. 2 wins for the whole season. It was a painful start, so
that's what NFL's all about.
Yeah.
I don't like this anymore.
So I mean, I suffered from the start with it.
Who was your quarterback back then? I don't even know.
Wasn't it?
No, man, I started it. No, he was. I remember our first round pick that year was Taylor Lewan.
Christ, shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out to him.
He is now.
He's still with
Who's
us.
this geezer?
He's still with us, and to be fair to him, he's rocking bus with the boys. Another podcast shout out. To be fair, it's mate. That was good. That was my first season as a fan.
Better days are definitely laid ahead for you boys.
Oh yeah, better days. 2-14 to start your NFL fandom as such was a learning curve. But yeah, it was that, and then we went on to bigger and better things, and I've been there since.
Up the Vrabels.
Yeah, Vrabels come in at the Vrabes. He's come in done bits, and John Robinson as well as a GM GM has changed the way that we look at everything, I think. That was mine. Went there, fell in love with the city, and I think that was more the point. It just kind of linked to the city rather than anything else. Speaking to people, locals, and it was a case of get into this sport. I always used to watch the Super Bowl. I don't know, for years.
I think in this country, a lot of people do just watch Super Bowl. I don't know
Yeah, I remember at school.
They won't know anything, and they'll go, "I'm watching the Super Bowl."
Yeah, I remember watching the Super. I mean, the first Super Bowl that stands out in my mind, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was the Falcons Patriots, where the Patriots come back from so far down. For some reason.
Against Atlanta.
Yeah, that is the first Super Bowl that I really remember watching. I think I'd watched highlights all the way through, but it was the first one I remember staying up on my own, sat in the living room at 2:00 in the morning watching.
That's the question. What was the first Super Bowl that you've when I say probably watched, it's not like it was on in the background and you went to bed. What was the first one you probably watched all the way through?
Do you know what? And I know the reason why. So that one, I watched it, and I think I stayed up. I pulled an all-nighter. So I watched that, I stayed up, watched it, and then I recorded some WWE pay-per-view as well. So I stayed up and watched that straight after.
Shout out WWE.
WWE.
But I was off.
If you want to give us a sponsor, brilliant.
Yeah, mate. Vince
McMahon, I've always been a fan.
Yeah. But if that was I remember watching that game, followed by watching that, and I remember staying up the whole. I slept the whole Sunday, and got up at 7:00 in the evening, started watching it. Ordered Domino's at 2:00 in the morning, and watched the whole thing, and that was my first one I watched. But yeah, that was the season then. For me, with the time.
What about you? What was your first Super Bowl memory?
First Super Bowl memory. My first real Super Bowl memory was the Seahawks. That famous should have run it, but they threw it and intercepted. That was my first real deal. I remember going to my mate's uni house and watching it at his uni. They had like a big projector up, and yeah, it was the most bizarre experience because we had like people like chanting Seahawks who probably have never watched any game before. But
I like the uniform. That's what I find.
Yeah, loads of people in this country love it. If you,
that's my colour. I'm picking that colour.
I love the fluorescent green and like the sort of like the carbon look.
Cool blue.
Yeah. My mum this year. I remember we were watching a couple of games just on after Red Zone finished or whatever. She, I like that colour. I'm picking that colour. I'm like, Mum, you support the Titans. You've literally jumped on the Titans bandwagon.
When I look at the Seahawks kit, I just think, damn, that's a badass kit.
Cool.
That's a cool kit.
But
they were really boring. Have you seen them from like years ago? It was really plain and bland.
Yeah.
And they've gone to like this.
I'm a little bit exposed to it. Do you know what? I'm going off a little bit off top. I'm such a boot fan, as in boots, football boots, American football boots, soccer boots, whatever you want to call it. I've got like this weird obsession. I've got about 4 pairs of boots. I play soccer one time a week. I've got about 4 pairs of boots. But when I see a player with the
pre-COVID,
cool
obviously
pre-COVID, soon come we play again, up the ACFC. When I see a player in the kit and they have like, say for the Seahawks example, they have like a little bit of green tinge, and you see Russell Wilson rock those fluorescent green boots. For me, it looks badass. It does. It just looks, and you just know the game's already done when you see Russ Wilson turn up.
You must
with
love
his
the cleats for shouty thing they do. You
Oh,
must, you must like lose
Christmas
your,
Day.
you must lose your
Kamara,
marbles. Oh,
this year,
Kamara,
Kamara.
the red and green.
How he got
boots.
5 for that is beyond me, but the red and green boots, and he scored 6 touchdowns.
Is it causes for cleats?
That's it.
Causes for cleats every year. That is phenomenal because it is something that's so simple, but we all look at it. We all literally smash it and look at it so much. I mean that is big. But I mean, yeah. You didn't answer Chris's question of what's your first Super Bowl memory?
Yeah.
My one.
We'll go back to that.
To be honest, I've probably watched a load when my dad did again, but when I was a youngie, like a nipper, I didn't really enjoy it.
Yeah.
But the one that sticks out to me in my head was, and I actually watched it again on it came up on my Facebook videos the other day, and I forgot how good it was just for the whole thing of them beating it, like they were underdogs. Again, a divisional rival, but the New York Giants when they beat the Pats, like that year, like even to this day, Tom Brady says to Eli Manning, "You stole a Super Bowl from me," and he probably did.
Was that the year they should have gone like undefeated?
I think it was, but then the Super Bowl, and then
Yeah.
I remember watching the last drive, and I think it was a 3rd down. I think it was a 3rd and long, maybe. I might be wrong with that. I'll have to get Reece to check it, but I think Eli Manning's under hellish pressure, and I think he just almost hits and hopes. He just throws and hopes, and I can't remember the wide receiver for the Giants, but he goes up and gets it, and then just the rest is history. And then again, it pains me to say as a divisional rival, but for me, that's probably one of my early memories that sticks with me because it was just, I think I just liked an upset because obviously the Pats, rightly so, they were a good team. They just dominate every year, and I just think seeing an upset, and I'm a fan of the Mannings. I like Eli, I like Peyton, and just to see Eli just do bits for me was just a good memory.
The Manning family, they're really, that being not really soppy. They're just really nice people.
Yeah, you see them
proper
in interviews,
genuine.
that's
I remember
cool,
watching
aren't
the Pat McAfee show, and it was his Hall of Fame moment, and he was FaceTiming him in the back of a van on his way to and literally he was FaceTiming Pat McAfee, and while he was FaceTiming Pat McAfee, he was doing photos. It was just like, who does that? Like, he was doing photos for the press. It was brilliant.
It was 3rd and 5 with 1 minute 15 left.
There you go. And it was a 3rd down. Maybe not 3rd and long.
David Tyree.
That's the one. It's a huge. I think he was in triple coverage, I believe.
Yeah,
He
went up against the safety, Ronnie Harrison, and the rest is history.
Yeah, fair play.
Next question. Next question. So I'm doing the questions in different order when they come in, but probably topping off the answer we had from when we first started this. What are our ages? So we'll let the elder statesman start with that.
Okay. Yeah.
So Chris,
I'm 26 years old. I'm 27 this year. Slowly creeping towards 30. But,
coming up quick.
It's coming up quick.
I mean, for me, I'm the baby, so I was 25 in February, and George.
I'm 20.
Older.
I was 25 in January, so I'm middle fiddle really in this little.
I suppose to give
trio.
A little bit of kind of history between us three. We met each other. Me and George met each other through school, and then the three of us met through working together. So that's more of our background for where we come from, and friendships were formed.
Got a common denominator in a sense of NFL.
Really.
And that was the rest is history, as they say.
2 of us support a good actual English football team. The other not so much, but that's where it'll come
we
from.
won't get to that.
Yeah,
that's
well,
a podcast for another day.
That's a podcast
That's a different day.
But, yeah.
Next question: Super Bowl predictions for this year, and do we think the Chiefs will make it a 3rd year in a row for the AFC?
I think they've got to.
Yeah, they have to.
You just can't overlook them.
Do you know what? I disagree.
I don't know what is their contract situation with some of their. I don't even know.
So I mean, the big 3 for them, I suppose Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce. They're all safe.
They're all locked in.
Yeah, and Chris
I mean,
Jones
I think if they've got them 3, they're sorted really. Like, don't get me wrong, the defensive side of the ball, they got Matthew. They've got Chris Jones. They've got a good.
Big up Chris Jones.
Chris Jones.
He's definitely the polar opposite of me.
Jones is the polar opposite.
I just think, regardless of the contract situations, you just can't overlook them.
Do you know the
I
reason
think if you've got Pat Mahomes at the helm, I just think the guy is a hybrid. He just, the things that you do, like, regardless, we go back to the Super Bowl, they were down. The game was done, in my personal opinion. The game was done at half time, I think. But you just look at him and you kind of felt sorry for him. He was playing injured. 50% Pat Mahomes is still probably better than half of 100% of the QBs in the league. And some of the plays he was trying, and you just almost felt sorry for him because he was being let down by, you probably put your house on some, like Travis Kelce catching I'd say probably 10 out of 10 balls that he throws. Even Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Some of the plays.
You know,
and I
down
just
the
felt-
throat, weren't they? They were direct.
Yeah, they were hard, but you think you get paid millions. You should be making that catch. Super Bowl. It's the biggest stage of them all. What better time to prove your worth?
I'm gonna call out that disagreement purely because of how I think Tampa Bay were the first team that rattled them. And I'm talking over a 2-year period, so it's a big thing. But no team's gone against the Chiefs really.
No.
Even in the sense of talking about a Titans team in 2019 that beat them, like during the regular season. That was more luck than skill, like from watching that game. But the Bucks destroyed them. They read everything. They played a system that worked. So I'm thinking that's now going to become more public knowledge. It's a system that works, and so
Blueprint.
and
Pat
I
Mahomes
don't
in that
see the
game-
Chiefs changing their way of playing.
No. But yeah, I get what you mean, because Pat Mahomes had no time. He had literally no time whatsoever to do anything. They knew what they had to do, and they knew they had to stop.
I think
They
if
knew
you've
what
got
a
a good
weapon
edge
he
rush,
was.
if you've got a good edge rush and you've got a good pass rush, I don't think that the Chiefs are going to have a chance this season. In the sense that teams are going to go for the jugular. They're not going to go. They're not going to do the normal standoff double coverage. I mean, to be fair, Tyreek Hill and the Bucks did it again. They double covered Tyreek Hill. They double covered Travis Kelce.
The thing for
They
me though,
rushed
like
Mahomes, and there was nothing left to do.
you watch the game back, and yeah, okay, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to take anything away from the Bucks because they played a defensive, I'd say masterclass. They were just every part of their game was good, offensive, defense, especially defensively for me. But I just think you go back and you watch them back, and there were catches you kind of put your house on. Like I said, don't get me wrong, there was tight coverage and tough, really. But then Travis Kelce, some of the catches, especially him, I'm a massive Travis Kelce fan. And some of the catches that you see him make regular season, okay, it's a little bit different because the pressure's not as big and the stage isn't as big. But you think players like him, Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, they thrive off being in the Super Bowl. That's what any player wants to play in. The biggest stage of them all. And I just think, don't get me wrong, I think Pat Mahomes maybe overcomplicated some plays, but I think he was let down by his tight ends and wide receivers a lot more than I think people think.
Yeah, I think an answer to that question for me is yes. I think they are another contender. I can't see a team that have done it twice in a row with a lot of players still locked in and aren't going to go anywhere, that they can't do it again. Yes, there are teams that can compete, and I know it's easy to say because they just won a Super Bowl, but I generally do think Tampa, if they can keep the squad they've got with Tampa, because I know we're changing sort of team here, but in terms of Tampa Bay, I know a lot of their players are happy to basically take pay cuts to keep the team together, and I think when you've got teams like that, they're going to give the Chiefs the pressure, but I think Chiefs can go. I could see them in the Super Bowl again. Really could.
I think my disagreement to that is what I said, but for me, I think my prediction, I think Rodgers smashes it for the NFC. I think the Packers make it this year, and I'm gonna back Josh Allen. I think the Bills do it this year. I think they'll strengthen when they need to.
You know what? I really like Josh Allen.
I love Josh.
I love you, Josh.
Yeah, we do love you, Josh.
Love you, Josh Allen.
You know, I think we're all big Josh Allen fans, but I think
You can't not be.
I think that the Bills will strengthen this year, and I think that they will be the challenger.
The
the
Bills
AFC.
Mafia, eh?
Bills Mafia. Next question. I mean, there's kind of two that we might have already answered, so I'll do them together and we'll work from it. Do we think Brady's got another Super Bowl in him? I think you pretty much said that there, Chris, is that the team probably could make it. I think he's definitely got in him. His structure, his health, his fitness is disgraceful how good he is at 43.
He's like Captain America, isn't he?
He's like the Terminator. He really
just doesn't end.
I mean, you can compare him to, I suppose, someone like Cristiano Ronaldo, where they're playing beyond their age.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Massively playing beyond their age, and they're playing at the top of the game beyond their age.
Like the elite.
Oh, I still reckon he's got another 4 years in him.
Oh yeah, I think to be fair, it wouldn't surprise me if he just about scrapes to 50. So I think it would be maybe another 3 or 4 years of quality performances, and he seals out a final contract to 47, to 48, 49, maybe 50.
For me, this year, this season coming, I hate to say it, and in a sense, I hope I'm wrong, because again, you can't not love Tom Brady. He's the absolute GOAT. I just see the wheels falling off a little bit this season. I do. I just think I don't think they're going to completely have the same squad. I feel like they're going to Some players that want to sort of explore free agency. I don't know if they can tie down any players, and I think it will be a kind of like a Peyton Manning situation. Like it's kind of ironic how similar their careers have been, being good pals. Like you think they won the Super Bowl with Denver, against all odds, i.e., very similar to the Bucs. But then I mean, my memory, if it serves me correctly, I don't think they had particularly good couple of years, if a year after that Super Bowl. I think they struggled.
I hope he breaks that. I'd like to see him do well, and I think he's one of the players you want to see.
Oh, of course.
If he goes out, at the top of his game. But if you wouldn't blame him for leaving now. If he turned around and went, I'm done now, I've done what I said I'd do,
100%.
you'd agree with it. But I mean, the next one for that is will Wilson get traded, which I think we've
spoken
about earlier.
about.
We think he's going to stay. We think it's for money, and it's a case of that.
Yeah, I think.
Up the Dallas Cowboys, he'll come to us.
See, no more Dak.
Dak as a backup.
No, he won't take that.
Franchise tag.
Well, we go
tag.
straight past that.
Dak's staying, but
So I mean, the next one's from a certain @George Hampo. Is it true that George Hampo is the best looking team member of the 3-man draft?
I mean, I'd have to solidly agree. That's my unbiased opinion, but I don't know.
So you think you're a sort?
Well, if I had to say so, I'd say so. So I'm saying so, yes.
I mean, I really think we should have someone that isn't a part of this podcast to tell us.
Ring Carnaware. Shout out Carnaware.
Yeah, shout to
I'm sure she'll say.
Oh, the missus.
I'm sure she'll agree.
I'm sure she'll agree.
I'm sure she won't.
Yeah, no,
she'll probably destroy it.
She'll throw me under the bus.
Yeah, please kind of come on and we just if we're that professional, we'll have a phone in.
Yeah.
And get her to come in and be like, "Hi, Card."
I'll pay her to phone in.
Yeah.
Moving swiftly past that, because that is one for the depths of it. Other than our own affiliations, who do we think the best quarterback in the NFL is and why? I think we discussed this earlier, and for me, there was an argument for Mahomes.
Lamar.
No. There's an argument for Mahomes, but then with Brady being in there, are we taking it for the best quarterback in the NFL? Because it's Tom Brady.
We talk about best all-time quarterback.
Actually, at the moment,
best
Patrick
right now.
Mahomes
Well, I
is
think
a joke.
best all time. You can't say anyone bar TB12.
Tom Brady is the best.
That's as simple as
That's an easy question.
In fact,
Landslide.
I'd actually say he's
right now.
He's the GOAT of the GOATs. I don't think there's been a better player in any sport, a better competitor in any sport.
In regards to their
what he's
specific sport, no. I agree.
Right now, though, as the best all-round quarterback in the NFL, for me, I'm probably with you on the Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes, and I'm not saying this is biased as well, but Lamar Jackson. This is a guy that could, like in the draft, was saying, why is he playing quarterback? Why is he playing? He's a running back. He's all that malarkey, right? And he can run. There was questions on his throw-in. Yes, they got better. But then again, I think Mahomes isn't quite as mobile, but he is. I mean, you see those throws he makes. He's just like all on the Super Bowl. The bloke was like pretty much horizontal doing a press up in the middle of the air, and he still managed to throw a ball to an open receiver. Just smacked him in the helmet as if he wasn't expecting it. So, for me, I mean, it is a bit of a joint. But if I had to pick Patrick Mahomes,
I mean, if I'm saying without Mahomes, I think for me, I said it earlier. I think the upper common for it would be Josh Allen. And then if you're going for who is still currently in the league and not talking about upper commons, you can't really look past the likes of Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. But I mean, random stat for you here, which I don't think was banned at all.
Mr.
Shout out Stat Boy.
Mr. Statman.
Statman. Did you know that we're going to go multi-sport here? So Steph Curry, obviously basketball icon.
Shout out Steph Curry.
I don't really watch basketball.
Up the Warriors.
If you want to come on our podcast, we'll be more than happy to.
We'll be more happy. Up the Warriors. Except when they beat the Cavaliers, but we won't talk about that. So he, on average, his 3-point percentage is 47%. Statistically, Tom Brady is more likely to make a Super Bowl over his career than Steph Curry, probably one of the best basketball players of all time, is to make a 3-point shot at 47%. Random fact for you. That's how good Tom Brady has been through his career.
Crazy. It's a crazy stat, to be fair.
It is a crazy stat. Thank you, Statman.
Yeah.
Next question.
Yeah, you can't not. I agree with Jonesy. I think he's an absolute enigma. I feel like Pat Mahomes isn't. Everything he does. It's just an absolute disgrace. It really is. Like you say, Jonesy, the horizontal press up he was doing. Like if I think it was Tyreek Hill. I think it was. I don't know if I'm wrong, but I think it was Tyreek Hill. I just think if he makes that play, I'm not saying the game would have changed, but for me, again, I'd have to watch every Super Bowl back ever, but it would have to be probably one of, if not the best play.
If he makes that play, I think it's the play that rivals the Manning play in that Giants Super Bowl that we spoke about. In the fact of how much pressure he was under. In fact, he's in more pressure, and he's found a free man who somehow has missed it.
Yeah.
But if we're talking GOATs aside, i.e. Tom Brady and Pat Mahomes, the future GOAT, I suppose, or close to, I think up and coming. You can't overlook Josh Allen, can you?
No.
He's another. He's just solid. He's massive. He's tall. He's like just.
He's a bit more your traditional quarterback, isn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
with a bit of spice.
He's more arm. He's more arm than legs. And I know that's
throws
stupid.
some bullets as well.
Accurate.
By the way,
He's like a laser beam.
So saying things like
Crazy
Lamar
bullets.
and Mahomes and players who are very mobile. Josh Allen's more of a sit in the pocket, break it and throw.
I think he's just more tough. I think he can take a tackle more. I think he's less likely to fumble just because I think he's built.
He's strong. I think he's a bit stronger. Yeah, naturally stronger. Next question.
Shout out Dak Prescott, by the way. He gets a mention.
big up Dak. Well, I will say it we'll move on to the next question, but yeah, we could sit here and talk about quarterbacks for ages, which we pretty much have for most of this podcast anyway.
This is the quarterback
so we promise you, if any Americans listen to this, we do know more than just quarterbacks. It's a bit like just talking about like Messi and Ronaldo.
Like running backs of Derrick Henry.
Oh yeah, well we'll talk about that another day. Big up Mark Ingram.
Zeke Elliott,
so yeah, we can talk.
Zeke Elliott, number one overall pick. Derrick Henry come somewhere
what
around.
kind of running back with a crop top?
Round.
My
G. Yeah, no, we can talk about quarterbacks for ages, and I think there is so many contenders right now for what's coming through. Like the stuff that's coming through the colleges right now is just mental. Like you've got Joey B and all these.
Next season, Joey B has a
Let's
close
change
to
it up.
MVP season for me.
I'm really going to change it up. Shout out to Arthur Smith as a offensive coordinator going to a head coach role.
That's very true.
Best of luck.
Yeah, best of luck.
Right,
yeah.
Our next question is more of an entertainment one. Oh, no. What's your personal favourite halftime of the Super Bowl show?
You know what? I usually hate them.
Really?
As someone that I just can't be bothered.
I feel they can drag on too long over the game. I prefer to just see the action and watch it.
Yeah, usually I just go off. Get another beer or go and do something. I do not want to watch it.
Yeah.
And the last one with The Weeknd, I actually quite enjoyed.
Crazy.
I actually sat there, but because of COVID, the fact that they could have. Because usually it's a stage in the middle, isn't it? It's a stage in the middle with a crowd, with it's like fake crowd jumping up and down, and it was just, and they're just in the middle of a stage.
The
but
box room with the mirrors.
Yeah, well,
done my
crazy.
head in.
Oh, I know. That was
I
weird.
bet he didn't know that was going to be a bigger meme than I think.
Like
the meme
that went game on the internet. That went game.
The one that where you feel like you're lost in a supermarket for me, trying to find your mum is a personal favourite of mine. I think every person as a kid can relate to that.
Yeah,
feel like you're lost in
we've all been
supermarket.
there.
The only one for me that stands out beyond that, and it's not even one that I've watched live, but one that I've watched since, was probably was Prince doing Purple Rain, and the fact they actually rained in the open, and you've got a man with an electric guitar wired up to him. And he's covered in water.
Something. Yeah.
Was something that was, I think, it's the only one for me that stands out since. I remember the ones that have been since. I mean, last year's I think we said was a bit.
I think they're kind of. I think I love them because they're like for artists. They're huge. They are huge, but I find them a bit cringy and a bit cheesy sometimes.
What was the year that Bruno Mars did? That was horrendous.
For me,
the Bruno Mars one.
Was horrific.
For me, no, that wasn't even the worst one. If we're going on worst, I feel like the Black Eyed Peas one was terrible. When Slash came out with the guitar and then they tried to sing that song and Fergie.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Was just
if Slash come out with a performance of the halftime show, I'd love it. And then it got absolutely
everyone did, and I was like, oh, he's going to save the show.
Yeah.
I like Black Eyed Peas. They got a couple of bangers, but
they
come out and I was like, Christ, this is awful.
Bangers,
I was actually going to say
this is awful. And then he come out, I was like, it's going to salvage it. It's going to be class now, and it just. Not him personally, but it made it worse.
And then they made it worse. They ruined a great song.
I was going to say, go like the opposite to this question would be what would be the worst Super Bowl show you've seen? It definitely, yeah.
Black Eyed Peas
was horrific.
Do I remember Chris Martin performing somewhere?
That was with The Weeknd.
Yeah, but Chris
Martin.
He performed with Beyonce, didn't he?
Yeah, no, he did. That was the Seahawks. I'm pretty sure that was the Seahawks.
Who did we just say?
Was it The Weeknd?
No, The Weeknd. Bruno Mars, I feel.
Was it?
Bruno Mars, Beyonce, and him.
I mean, my hatred for both Beyonce and Chris Martin that was like taking razor blades to myself. 'Cause
Coldplay
it was
best band ever.
horrific.
No, they're not.
They do not bang. Coldplay.
Coldplay are horrific.
Yeah, they are. They're written off. You're in the wrong here. We're going to move on very, very quickly from that. So we've asked that. I mean, there's one other one. It's more the very English setup of why does a game take so long to complete?
But I'm not answering that. That's just we're gonna be forever.
I'm going to give that a very brief.
You know who you are.
You know who you are. You're no longer a friend of ours. But I mean, the long and short answer is that game time is shorter than everything we watch here ever. It's because the clock stops. Rather than losing game time because people roll around or waste time, you don't get that. You can't have that. The game just stops for it. So that's where it is.
It's like fast, intense, bang, click. It all happens and then stops, which some people don't like. But I'm not getting into that sort of debate. I mean,
a very I suppose team biased one, which is our secondary one. What have the Bears got to do to become Super Bowl contenders? And how do they sort out their QBs?
Get a new team.
yeah.
For me
Mitch
personally,
Trubisky's got to go.
You know who you are.
Yeah, you know who you are.
It's Mitch.
He's got to go.
It's Mitch, isn't it? It's
He's
so much hype for a player who's not very good.
He's just. You know what?
Again,
but I don't think he's not being
we're not
good.
going to batter it up.
He's not consistent. That's his thing. There's a couple of times you'll play, and I'm like, you deserve the hype. But 9 times out of 10,
He's a typical guy that he looks the part, doesn't he? He looks like a quarterback. He's a fairly attractive bloke. He wears the number 10. He just looks like a good quarterback. You look at him and be like, you know what, this guy's probably quite good at his job.
Yeah.
Obviously he's not terrible because he's a professional athlete, but I just feel, the hype outlives what actually he does on the pitch, for me personally.
I think with the Bears, like there was, what was it, 2 years ago they got Khalil Mack or something like that, and it was like, oh, this is going to be like from Oakland
I
or
work
Las
with
Vegas. And
where did he come from?
Oakland. What, Khalil Mack or Oakland?
I was Oakland. Yeah.
Well, Las Vegas.
Las
but-
Vegas now, but he was Oakland at the time.
No.
No, I'm pretty sure it was Oakland.
I've not.
I mean, I could be wrong. I'm sorry to all these Americans who might be listening. The one or two that might be listening, and we've drunk a lot. But yeah, no, you know, for me on that one,
He came from Oakland.
what they need to do, yes.
Now Las Vegas.
Boom. Oh, Chris knows his stuff, doesn't he?
I'll
Just
be quiet.
George speaks
To
with
be fair,
his chest but knows nothing.
To be fair, you've actually, you have said a lot of stuff that I was like, oh,
As a Cowboys fan, that's obviously why.
I think it's easy to say you need a new quarterback because it's the easy answer. A bit like in this country, changing your manager. But genuinely, I think they do. I think he's. But they brought in, like, we're going back to Nick Foles again. Your man Nick Foles that you were saying about earlier.
Yeah.
They brought him in to basically compete with Trubisky and get him almost thinking, well, shit, I better do something here. And what's happened? Nothing.
Yeah, I feel like no.
But neither did Foles. Foles wasn't doing anything.
No, exactly. I don't think anyone really took the initiative. I feel like the manager the head coach must have gone to them and both been like, the quarterback position is there for the taking.
Yeah.
Like, we brought you in as a Super Bowl winner, Nick Foles. Like, we want you to become. They probably said it to both. We want you to become the franchise QB.
You want your QB1.
But then I feel like they almost chopped and changed it to try and get the best. Nick Foles had a good couple of runs. Then Nick Trubisky did. I just feel like there was
no consistency.
No, there wasn't. And I think no one was actually like, I'm going to take this and cement my QB1
It was almost,
position.
I think, the fact you've got Trubisky looking as like, Foles ain't got that much longer left in him. I don't think they get another one in. It's going to come back to me. Nick Foles is rolling on what he's done and achieved, and he doesn't need to gain that QB1 status to roll it, and they've not got the right persona.
I almost feel like he's never been a QB1 though.
To take, he hasn't, but he done what he had to do.
He's a backup, but then he won a Super Bowl, so
exactly.
Respect where respect's due.
I would ask Statman right now, but he's closed his laptop lid.
My battery died.
Oh, your battery died. Okay.
Yeah, we was waiting for you to set the mics
Professional
up.
outfit here from the 3-man draft.
I'm waiting for you to set the mics up, and that was it.
Well, don't we spent about 2 hours setting up the mics because.
I've got my phone.
I'm not sure
Give us stats.
I'm not sure if I've mentioned, but we're running 2 mics, not 3, because we had problems. But anyway, moving on.
Statman's on.
I don't know what I was going to ask now. I've actually genuinely forgot what I was going to ask.
Onward from Chris then, on to the final question. Big shout out to Jamie Sunderland.
Oh no.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
We all know what this is going to be.
Can he slap his fat dick on Chris's forehead? We're gonna send this straight to Chris because I don't think me and George should get involved here.
Jamie, if you can provide the Baltimore Ravens with JJ Watt next year, then I will happily let that happen. Until that moment, This doesn't mean though you have to be involved in this. By the way, you have to be involved in the.
You have to have ink on that contract.
In contract, Jamie Sunderland has involved himself in the JJ. It can't be a case of you've just struck lucky and JJ Watt has joined the Ravens, and now you can slap your fat dick. Oh God, I'm saying it.
On Chris's
You're trying to be
forehead.
so professional.
I'm trying to be so, and you've just
professional.
thrown this complete spanner in the works.
Shout out Jamie Sunderland.
We'll let you know that you
Sunderland.
need to join. You need to go to the podcast at 1 hour 14 minutes to get to your bit, and then you can just turn it off. Other than that, no, you cannot slap your fat dick around my forehead.
I mean, I think that's a shame for him, but I think that's the end of our Q&A. A way to end it is phenomenally. But yeah, I don't know how I can go from there. But back to Mitch Trubisky, I think he needs to get some drive because he's not.
Yeah, actually,
He's almost
I'm generally trying to
cruising
think
in
what
his
I was wanting to ask Statman here.
I feel like
for
he's just
Stat-
cruising his career.
Yeah,
he's the equivalent of someone living paycheck to paycheck. I feel he's obviously getting a lot of money,
I don't think much so much living paycheck to
but
paycheck.
he's
But
very
he's almost
much
stealing a living.
kind of. He's not. The thing is though, he's not a bad QB. He's really not. He's just like you say, he's just not consistent.
No.
If he put a season or a good half a season at least of consistent games where he was getting crazy stats, well, not even necessarily crazy stats, just consistent good stats, then at least the Bears fans would be like, you know what, this guy's he's our QB, because I feel like their GM's sticking to him, and I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's staying.
Do you know who I think? To be fair, you said
He's
Browns. there.
staying.
Yeah.
They're going to have to sign for another. I swear he's at the end of his contract. They're going to have to sign him to another contract.
That's the thing.
But he wouldn't. Would he sign to a backup contract? Probably not. That's what I was going to ask you. Just hit me. What is the Bears' draft situation this year?
Oh, okay. Let's have a look. So Bears 2021 draft picks. I think they've actually got some good ones.
Because the Bears get the Bears get so close, don't they? They really do.
How they made the postseason this year was
Beyond
me.
That was well.
I think it's beyond every single Bear fan out there. I don't even think they believe this was true. They were like, "What's
You
happening?"
had the Dolphins sat there. Was it 10-6 or something?
Yeah, to be fair, the Dolphins got robbed this year.
Absolutely wrong.
Yeah.
That's
Well, they was out of their hands at one
another quarterback situation to talk
Yeah,
about.
they
but
got
we won't.
robbed.
I think
Who are we looking at?
we'll
The
save
Bears.
that.
Shout out to
Bears draft.
So they've got the
Shout out to
20th
her.
pick in the first round.
Say it again.
The 20th pick in the first round.
It's not good enough to get you a quarterback, is it? But,
I mean, you're going to get maybe a 6th or 7th selection, aren't you? Because not everyone's going for a
unless they
QB.
trade up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
But why are they that desperate?
How far are they going to trade up?
I don't. This is going to sound a bit naive.
I mean,
suppose,
the-
but can an NFL team like in this country sign somebody to like a 1 year really mediocre contract in
Maybe.
hope that
The
feel like they can.
Lions don't need QB, do they?
no.
Not now.
Oh,
they've
no.
They do.
The Detroit Lions need a QB.
No, they've got Jared
because they've got
Goff.
Jared Goff.
Right, they
and
don't need
that-
anyone.
Like, it was a garbage. Sorry to any
mean-
Lions fans that are listening, but they're a garbage. They're a garbage
To be fair,
franchise,
the
and they're even
Dolphins
more
do not
garbage
need
now.
a QB. Right, the Dolphins have the 3rd round pick that Houston should have had. Sorry, have the 3rd overall pick that Texas should have had.
They
So,
can't
but-
go for another QB.
Well, this is what I mean. They've got Tua, and to be fair, he proved the injury that was wrong, kind of
He had a
wrongly.
so-so season for me.
He did, but he come in very
But then I
hard through.
suppose
And to be fair
every
to
rookie.
I'm actually going to look at what
complex.
you're saying about the Lions. I was actually going to say something, and I wanted to make sure I backed it up with
They're
some
se-
sort
I mean,
of facts
have
here.
they
But
got-
yeah, they need what they need.
They've
is
got
a
the
wide.
seven-
They need a wide receiver.
They do, but they've got the 7th pick. Now, if Chicago are desperate, you reckon they should better trade for the 7th pick, in which case you're going to get maybe 2nd or 3rd choice QB, I'd imagine.
Yeah, you're right.
So at that point, you're thinking, if they can get to Miami and get the 3rd overall draft pick,
Yeah.
you're thinking
What's
they're
funny-
going to take.
I'm looking at the Bears.
God
The
knows.
Bears' primary needs here, and it does say quarterback. I know we've been talking about quarterbacks this whole pod, but it generally says quarterback, which is right, isn't it? Really, that is where they need a fix. And I think maybe Detroit is the place you're going to get that pick from. But
I think it's 7th pick.
but
They
they've just got Jared Goff, and they need someone half decent to catch a ball because Jared Goff,
Can't throw
Wayward
the ball.
balls.
wayward balls.
That's
My
what I genuinely see
It's going to be an
the
unenjoyable
Bears
season.
somehow managing to trade a 3rd. They get the pick of the Dolphins.
Yeah.
I see it
I just feel like
happen.
Dolphins don't need a pick. Really,
not that high up.
yeah. Like you've got.
Dolphins have got picks for days.
I don't understand. They had good picks last year. What they have second? No, they must have had a third or fourth last year.
Very good moves from the last few years have led them to have.
What they've done? I mean, to be fair, they've
rebuilt.
They have. I mean, they made a bad decision in terms of Tannehill to us. Going from that, they end up paying.
Well, he was garbage at the Dolphins.
He was garbage at the Dolphins, but they end up paying us 15 million of his 17 million contract for the first season.
Think of it. Wasn't
They
the
led us to the AFC
head
Championship.
coach of Miami with when Tannehill was there, the same one that was at the Jets who's just been sacked?
I think so. Yeah.
Clearly, he's
Right. Going back to our earlier conversation of the Texans, Bill O'Brien.
That
was
the
who
na-
was
that the
GM
name
and
I
head
needed.
coach.
I was
Bill
like,
O'Brien.
I knew the name. I was like, Bill. Who is it?
Bearing in mind, right, we've gone off on a tangent. I think that's the place. Now we've got Bill O'Brien from the very start for us. Probably a place to end for us on this first podcast.
I think we've got.
Knowing that Jared Goff has been brought up again and we don't want George to go on
Yeah.
a half an hour rant about it.
Yeah, that's
Please
very
don't.
true.
We're going to love you and leave you all.
Yeah, I think just want to put out that we have got some cool ideas coming up for different segments of the show.
We've got game modes.
We've got game. We got things where we're going to start throwing at each other. A bit Top Gear-esque as a hint.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got some stuff coming. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Admittedly, I think it has been a big old quarterback conversation. But you know what? That's just what we're doing. This is what we'd do if we were just chatting as mates anyway.
Please like us. Please share us. Please subscribe to
all
us.
the normal
Everything
stuff
we can ask for.
If Budweiser Budbar and
Share with a friend, especially if they're an NFL fan.
We're gonna mention
enjoyable content from this.
You will, and we're gonna mention a new beer every week. We're gonna try and test a new beer every time we record.
new beer every week. and
Budvar's
we're
been
gonna
done.
we're gonna go to Costco to get ourselves a.
For me, it's a margarita. I feel like I'm a margarita.
Yeah,
fan
to be
now.
fair, whether it's a beer or whether it's now a cocktail, because we've had a margarita that George never had before.
No, big fan.
We're finding new drinks, so anything we can have, and we're gonna get even more loose-lipped through alcohol content. So
100%. I mean, we're already a half cup because I spent about 1 hour to 2 hours of just trying to figure out how we're going to get this thing recording with 3 mics, which we never did, so we got 2. So we hope that Reese is clear enough, because from what I'm looking at on screen, he might be a little bit quieter, but hey, who cares? We enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
So
I'm actually really glad.
We're back bigger and stronger. Don't worry
Exactly.
about
So
back
we will
stronger for the pod.
100%. Well, I think it's a goodbye from Hampo,
Pleasure.
Reese,
Thank you.
and myself.
Yeah, very much.
We love you and need you, and we will see you.
Stay safe and mask up.
Oh yeah, mask
that. 2
up.
meters, please. Thank you.
2 meters.
COVID-19 protocols.
We will see you
Stay safe.
next time.